So right now, what I want to do is introduce you to some phrasal verbs. Now, it's important that you understand that phrasal verbs are very dependent on the context that they're used in. Although there may be a defined meaning for a phrasal verb, that meaning can change if you use the phrasal verb in a different context. So I just want you to understand that, because it's important that even though I might give you an idea about what some of these phrasal verbs mean, if you hear them in a different context, the meaning might be slightly different or the meaning might be totally different. Yeah, that's one of the interesting things about phrasal verbs, but it's also one of the hardest things to learn because they are dependent upon context. Yeah. Okay, so here we have 7 phrasal verbs, all with the verb come. So let's take a look at the first one. To come up with. To come up with something. You might be asked to come up with an idea or to come up with a solution to a problem. Yeah, but when we hear this phrase or this phrasal verb, to come up with something, usually it's referring to you having an idea. Perhaps somebody has put you in charge of a project. Perhaps there's a problem with the project. There's an issue and you have to resolve the issue and you need an idea how to do it. Yeah. So come up with is a great phrasal verb to ask people to think and try and solve problems and issues. I don't know, I actually also use this phrasal verb when, I don't know, perhaps you want to go out for the day. Perhaps you're fed up of staying at home and you want to spend a day outside but you don't know where to go. So you say to your friend, why don't you come up with an idea of where we can go? Yeah, so they can suggest something. Yeah, so that's come up with. But like I said, it's very dependent on the context, how it's going to be used. Now, come up against. Now, when you come up against something or even someone, this is usually describing a problem. Yeah? In fact, it's probably always describing a problem. So if you come up against something, then it's because this is causing you problems. It could be a person who is stopping you from doing something, so you've come up against a problem. So that's a physical thing. It might be a more mental problem that you have. I've come up against a problem because I do not have the solution to the issue that I'm facing. I haven't yet come up with the idea how to solve it. So I'm coming up against a problem. Yeah. Okay, so to come across somebody or something, again, is usually used in times when we're not expecting to either meet that person or to see that thing. Yeah. So for that thing to happen unexpectedly, we use this phrasal verb to come across. So as an example, I was out yesterday and I came across Richard, my old friend. I wasn't expecting to meet Richard. I didn't know Richard would be there. I came across him and he came across me. Yeah, we met unexpectedly. Yeah, so it's really describing the unexpected. Something happens that's unexpected, you can use come across. Whereas to come apart means to break. Yeah, now this can be physical, so it could be, I don't know, maybe you have a smartphone and you drop your smartphone, it breaks into 100 different pieces. We could say your smartphone has come apart. So it could be a physical thing, but at the same time, it could also be a non-physical thing. It could literally just be, I don't know, it could be a mental thing. Perhaps perhaps you're suffering from anxiety, depression, stress, and it just gets too much for you and you come apart. You break. Not physically, but perhaps mentally. Yeah? Come over. We usually use this phrasal verb to come over to invite people. Come on over to my house, we're having a party. Why don't you come over here and sit here and we'll drink coffee? So it's usually a very positive, invitational style thing to ask someone to come over. Perhaps maybe you want to have some building work done on your house, so you phone a builder and you ask your builder to come over to your house, take a look and give you a quote. So you're inviting somebody to come to your house, to come over. Very much this phrasal verb is used in social interactions. Okay? You invite your friends to come over to your house, or they invite you to go over to their house. Yeah? Okay, so think invitations. To come down with something. This is going to be used with a something, not a someone. Same with come up with. You're going to come up with something, whereas with up against, to come up against, you might come up against something or someone. But to come down with something is generally going to be talking about, say, the flu or a virus or any kind of sort of medical issue. And to come on, really, it's used to encourage people. You know, you're going to encourage someone by saying, come on, you can do it. Come on, yeah, you can do it. Come on, run faster. Yeah? So come on, generally for encouraging people. So I hope I have introduced you to some ideas relating to these phrasal verbs. But I do want you to remember that context is everything with phrasal verbs. So I've told you what these phrasal verbs mean and are generally used for, but you could still come across some of these phrasal verbs in some unexpected ways.